I heard the most wonderful phrase in the world from a friend of mine, a DJ out there, Thomas Heath, who wrote this on social media somewhere, Facebook, I'm sure, and I love this phrase. And he talked about the grand entrance, or as he referred to it, the grand yelling of the names. And it really struck with me because I've watched so many videos of DJs. I mean, part of the 1% Solutions, I'm always looking at other people's videos. And what I see really common is exactly that. It's not an introduction at all. It is literally the grand yelling of the names. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please welcome. Actually, they would probably say, please put your hands together and make some noise for John and Susie. Right? And then you just repeat that 6 times, changing the names. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please make some more noise for Debbie and Steve. All right, so it becomes the grand yelling of the names. If we're going to call it an introduction, let's introduce the people, right? Certainly you want to have enough hype to create energy and excitement. Certainly this is a big moment. It's like, again, if a basketball team is being introduced, they're not just going, so here is Steph Curry. There's more to it than that. But it needs to be a little bit more than this. This is an introduction. So if you're introducing the parents of the bride, introduce them. And I would say, this is Stephanie's parents. You don't have to say of the bride, of the groom, right? Use names whenever possible, and certainly when you introduce the people. But you can introduce them a little bit, right? So it can range from, I often do the very lengthy expanded personal introductions, where an introduction of a single person, because I typically do individuals, will be up to a minute long. That's a lot of talking about one person. Usually it's more like 20 or 30 seconds. But you can say a lot in 15 or 20 seconds instead of just Steve and Susie. It could be, please welcome the best man and David's best friend forever, Steve Johnson, and the maid of honor, Debbie's older sister. So it can be, right? It can be just something as simple as that. But then you can add to that a little bit. He's a law enforcement officer, served his country proudly in Iraq. Here is so-and-so. She's an attorney and has written 2 children's books, right? Something about him. It can be some little thing, but introduce them to the guests so that the guests have some information to go on from there. And let's get out of the grand yelling of the names, because if you're doing the grand yelling of the names, really, why would anybody hire you other than price over anybody else? Right? You're just doing the same thing everybody else is doing. Break out a little bit. Don't be afraid to bust the mold and stop doing the grand yelling of the names. And a huge thank you to Tom Heath for one of the very best phrases I've ever heard, the grand yelling of the name. Let's not do that one anymore.